You're listening to From a Certain Point of Skew, the only Star Wars podcast. This week, there's no way in hell it's exclusive or only, because there's a lot of podcasts and they're all discussing all things Star Wars this week with this episode. So let's not pretend we're exclusive on this one. Who am I? I am one of the co-hosts, Jason the Angry Ginger Jedi Guy, broadcasting live from inside Wookiee Poo Studios. And we didn't have a Wookiee this week, even though we were promised one last week. So Star Wars EAD. Not alone, though. Darth Matthews. What's up?
The power of one, the power of two, the power of many. Oh, my God. That chant was rough.
I mean, someone else could have jumped in on there. Like, can I get like Katy Perry on the horn or somebody? Even I was like, this is not good.
And what are you talking about? We didn't get Wookiee. We got Wookiee. Just very little Wookiee.
True. We did. We got a little shaved head. He got did he have a tattoo on his head?
I don't know. There's something going on there. I'm not sure exactly what.
Yeah.
It's a little different style. But he was actually had clothes on this time, so that was nice.
I didn't think so. I want him in his raw form.
The chanting was funny though. It reminded me. Did you say you grew up Catholic or no?
I did grow up Catholic.
Yeah, it sounded like it was like let us proclaim the mystery of faith. Don't you love how you'd be at church and they'd be just talking and then all of a sudden they'd bust into chant and you're like,
what always caught me off guard was like it was a hive mind and everyone knew when to stand and start singing, or all of a sudden kneel and then sit down. And I went for years as a kid and I was always like, how do they know this? Like, I'm looking around. Is there a light? Is there like
a cue?
To go into the next thing?
There's a person standing up there who's doing his hand signals. No, you just get used to it. Like, becomes second nature. The second you hear them say a certain thing, because it's a very repetitive service.
It's a trigger, right?
You would be like, okay, now I sit down. Mm-hmm. Now I kneel. Now I stand up. Now I shake hands. Now I do this.
Right.
But the chanting thing always threw me off because it doesn't always happen. And then sometimes you get a priest who does. So every time it would happen, I'd be like, oh, we're doing this. Okay, doing the chanting thing.
After weeks in the back, doing confirmation, like every time he spoke, I just got hard. So
I was going to say weeks in the back. Yeah. Woo! Okay. Well, if you'd like to find our show from a certain point of skew.com, we're on Twitter at FACPA pod. You can like our posts, even if others can't see it now. What was that?
I think you should. I don't even know. I even questioned the old leader of Twitter. Like, I remember seeing a while ago he was going to take it away, and I was like, and there was a reason for it. But like now looking at it, there's not even a reason to have it.
Well, right, you do get to see when somebody likes yours. That is still there.
Okay.
You just don't see what anybody else has liked. So for now, like, you can go buck wild with liking porn bot posts all you want, and nobody ever going to know about it. What if you did that and then they brought it back?
Take it away. I think that's it's like the Ashley Madison thing, man. They're waiting to bust you, like that doc that just came out.
Oh, God damn it.
Oh.
You can email the show facpapod@gmail.com, and you can leave us a voicemail, 678-FACPA77. That is 322-7277.
Call us.
Yeah.
On the show today, we've got a lot of stuff to talk about. We're going to get through this. Question of the week. Yord the Jock. News. Two things. Star Wars Outlaws looks dope as shit, says Matt.
Yep.
And then we've got an Andor update. Oh, my goodness. I can't wait. Hold on. I'm just having a Binks moment. Okay. The Acolyte Episode 3 Destiny we're going to talk about. And then we're going to go into Maul Bag 4 in the emails. 4!
Bringing that shit this week.
Man, speaking of hard.
Question of the week. What sport would Yord, the Yord Horde was out in full force this week.
Wow.
What sport would Yord have played in high school, and what would his nickname be? So we got a lot of great responses here. I'm going to start off by giving Ash Rendar credit, even though this is really not an answer to our question. Okay. She is so on the Jecki Lawn hype train.
Like, she needs to start an official fan club.
I think she does. Yeah. Yeah. She said, I believe what she say. Oh, it was the gif of Jecki saying, "Put your clothes back on" to Yord, which is pretty damn funny. But at this point, I feel like 90% of her posts are Jecki related.
Although I feel like, not to break Ash's heart, because she does swing that way, but we don't know if Jecki does. And I think the funny thing would be like if they cut to like a scene where Jecki walks into her little room and it's just nothing but like calendar poses and shit of Yord, like shirtless.
Oh God, she'd be so disappointed.
Yeah.
Well, so then the next one was Nin Temple said he'd be a track and field sprinter. They'd call him the 40 Yord dash.
I burst out laughing reading this just a minute ago when I was looking at the notes.
There's some really good ones in here.
Yeah.
That's a good one. Next is I Am Anakin's father says, definitely gives me a soccer vibe, probably a goalkeeper, the Great Wall of Yord. Everybody's using the Yord puns. Clone Trooper 7 just put a picture of a person playing water polo, which I could see that.
Okay.
Yeah. Next one was Brown Leader from Hyperspace Heroes said, hut ball in the fall, aerial swimming in the winter, space ball / baseball in the spring, hover and field in the summer. He's an all Coruscant athlete for the Jedi Temple. Yord knows, and it's a picture of Bo Jackson.
I fucking love that. And also the hut ball in the fall. What was the name of the team that I wrote in the story about where?
Right. Shit, I can't remember now.
If I would have read this earlier, I would have pulled it up. I just got a flash of that where he wants to rename the baseball team on Tatooine.
Yep, I forgot about that. Adelphi Ranger says, of course, he's back. I'm not sure, but have you ever heard the tragedy of Carson Teva the Brave? We stumped him last week. He feels like he could say that this week.
Hold on a second. Adelphi, Ash, Adelphi.
Power fans.
Right.
James Vader says water sport, hashtag water sports.
Kermit?
It's a gif of Kermit the Frog just getting hammered with a hose of water.
That's like a date night with Miss Piggy.
Oh, she's a squirter.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh Nerd Podcast. Haven't heard from them in a long time.
No.
Good to see them. Lacrosse, and his nickname is Shooter.
Yes.
That works. Max Rebo, he would definitely be a diva wide receiver, and he only was a starter because his dad was the coach. His nickname is Yord the Fjord, because the inside of his skull is a chasm with nothing in it.
Ouch.
Oh, fuck, man. His dad being the coach totally fits, though. Roe from Scarif Scuttlebutt says pickleball. His name would be Master Pickle, but not for his pickleball expertise. Saucy.
Wow.
I fucking hate pickleball. Have I told you about that?
No, sure.
Fucking hate it.
Why?
I walk by and I hear the sound that's going on in the courts. They've taken over every tennis court in
Is it when you're at the gym?
No, it's just like in a park, anywhere you go.
Okay.
And it's just like...
Is it basically four square with rackets? And right?
That's a good way to describe it. It's essentially tennis. It's essentially ping pong with a wiffle ball and these little paddles, and you're standing on the table.
Right, but it's four players, right?
It's not always four. You can play singles.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because there's one that's, because we live or my work, we kind of pass through like a touristy town, and one of the cabins, they built a pickleball court out front. So when I passed by, I saw these people playing, because I've never actually seen it, and I just assumed that's what it was.
It's because so many people are lining up because it's sweeping the nation, Jay, that you have to always play doubles.
Like, how did that trend pick up that fast?
I have no idea. I mean, I heard about it quite a while back, and because I remember seeing it and going, the fuck is this? And then it is just gaining huge popularity now. It drives me insane.
You think Yord would be like the Andre Agassi of pickleball with that hair?
Yeah. Bandana. Oh, man. So next is Norhal. Says he gives me vibes of a soccer player. His nickname probably would be Yord Ballon d'Or, which is a great reference because there's an award given to the best soccer player every year, and it's called the Ballon d'Or. So Yord Ballon d'Or just hit me really well. I love that.
And do you know who that image is?
No, the next image is from Brian Fennessy, and this is Jamie Tart from the show. What's it called? Ted Lasso.
Ted Lasso.
Yeah, so he says soccer. A lot of soccer players. Soccer player. He also always wore one of those thin headbands like Jamie Tart and referred to it as his Yord cord. And finally, Jedi Hick Wade from Records of the Republic said he played golf and lacrosse. His fangirls were Yord's Gourds, and his nickname was Yord the Sword.
I like this.
Jesus, man.
Yord's Gourds.
Think about it as a new club name. I know they like Yord Horde, but did you see the actor? He was like sending like putting little things out and stickers and stuff. Yeah, he's totally leaning into it. Oh, I thought that was fun.
I would. Shit.
Yeah. To the news, just a couple of quick items here. Star Wars Outlaws. We got a new trailer and some new gameplay footage.
Did you see that the actress that plays the character sent a video to Ash?
Yeah, she got it on Cameo.
I was wondering if it was a cameo, but still, it's fucking cool as hell.
Oh, it's really cool. She did a great job with it, and it was like, she even went on, and I saw earlier today, she posted and was like, she was replying to it saying like how I totally nerded out on doing this. This was really fun. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Cool.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. It looks so freaking good. How many hours of your life are you going to lose to this game?
I'm probably going to be unmarried by the time. Well, I'm not married
You're
now,
not married.
but we joke that she's my unwife. I'm her husband, but I'm going to be unmarried because this is the first game since the Spider-Man 2 game that we had at the PS2 for initially, which is awesome. But this game looks like I might just come home from work and turn on the system, and I'll have to be told to go to bed.
I think it can really suck the time out of your schedule for sure. In fact, one of the game's creators was asked about the completion of it and said this, quote, very, very early on, we decided this is going to be a 25, 30-hour golden path adventure, 50 to 60 hours for completionists. And that is, for a guy with a family and a job, it's still a fair amount of time. Hey, are you talking directly to us?
They are. Also, I love your idea that you put in there that I'm going to start a Twitch and play.
Yes, you should.
Oh. Watch me go back to the days of throwing my controller and just yelling at people, shut up.
Yeah, I had some dark days of video gaming where I got real angry about games. I had to really check myself. Like, what are you doing?
You made me die.
Yeah, or you punch the coffee table or something. You're like, what am I doing? That fucking hurt. What am I doing? Relax.
I was playing F-Zero one time, and I finally got, the King one, the last level, got all the way to the end, and I was winning. That was first place. It was the first time I beat the fucking game.
Oh, no.
And right at the last second, a car fucking passed me, and my buddy Bacon's watching. He's like, oh, you're going to do it. You're going to do it. And I fucking lose, and I just hocked a loogie on my TV without thinking.
No!
And he brings it up all the time.
I was this close. Oh, video games. They're the devil and they're wonderful.
Oh, boy.
The trailer they gave us included none other than Lando Calrissian. Now, I'm thinking about this and I'm thinking, wait, this is between Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. He's supposed to be actively looking for Han.
Well, he was gassing up at somewhere. Just, you got to play a game of Sabak.
Maybe it's part of the larger mission, because at some point, one of the missions, or maybe one of the DLC things, I can't remember, you go to Jabba's palace. So maybe somehow Lando hooks you in on that deal. I don't know.
And was that the one it's not Sabak, right? Was that one of the shows we were watching, or was that that game where they actually introduced a new game?
That was that was in Bad Batch.
It was a Bad Batch? Okay.
Yeah. So this I think is meant to be Sabak, because that's Lando's game of choice.
Yeah, it is.
They did also send out to a bunch of YouTubers with big, subscription numbers, got access to play the beta version of the game, and they've been giving, pretty rave reviews. But again, no invite.
Nope.
Motherfuckers. We need your Twitch account. We
gotta start it. We do. I'll create one.
Okay, do it. Let's see. Andor, a couple of quick updates here. The writers were revealed, and it includes Tony Gilroy, obviously. He's writing the first 3. Bo Willimon, who did the Narkina prison arc in season 1. He's doing the next 3. He's also working with James Mangold on Dawn of the Jedi, or Jedi Prime, or whatever they're calling it now. Dan Gilroy, Tony's brother, he did the Aldani arc last season. He's doing 7 through 9. And then Tom Bissell, who I'm not totally familiar with, but he's doing the last 3. That looks pretty sweet. And your gal, Adria Arjona, she was saying that she was expecting the game to come out next year. Now, granted, this is just somebody who's the game.
I heard
the
that.
show to come out next year.
I mean, it's a good educated guess.
Let's get an Andor game next.
Also, she dropped something a week or 2 ago where she said something about her character, and maybe in a few years it'll pick up her. So we know she makes it through season 2, right?
It would seem so, because she was saying something about how down the line she wouldn't close the door to doing her own spinoff or something else. You would
no one else would close the door on her either.
No, I don't think so.
Not unless she was on the inside.
Have you seen Hitman yet, or has it come out yet?
Yeah, I've seen it.
Oh, you have seen it. Any good?
Yeah.
No?
You know what? It's weird because it has everything that should make a movie fantastic, and the ratings, what is it, 97 audience score? It's huge, but it's just it's well acted, it's sexy as fuck. It's smart, it's well directed, but it just felt like a disposable Netflix movie at the end to me. So I'm not sure if that was my mood, because everyone seems to be loving it. But I mean, it's good, but it just was okay. But yeah, she's sexy as hell in it.
Do you think, and I mean, there are exceptions, of course, but do you think because of the fact that there's so many movies, so many shows, so much content over the last whatever years, we don't have those shows anymore, or those movies that we watch over and over and over and over again? I mean, think about the movies you watch on repeat.
Yeah.
None of them, not none of them, but most of them are from, the 80s, 90s,
right.
kind of that era.
Mm-hmm. I can't think of a movie that I've watched on repeat in the last 10 years.
Yeah. That's what I'm thinking. Anyway, that was kind of it. They talked about how they were doing some reshoots in Bristol, which, that's just,
right.
It's not surprising. They're always doing that. I gave you the joking response of, oh my God, they ruined it. It's over. But yeah, right. I think we're okay there. I'm not worried.
After continuing through the pandemic, the reshoots are welcomed.
It'll be interesting to see what we get, because next year we get that, and I'm trying to think what else is on the docket. Right now, I don't think there is anything actually lined
Skeleton
up.
Key, but it's supposedly that's end of this year, early next year. It goes into, right? Skeleton Crew.
That's okay. That's going to be, that's supposed to be like November-ish, I think.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. That's like we keep saying, there's got to be an animated series in the hopper.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You ready to talk paganism versus Christianity?
Yes.
Before we get into this, I jotted this down, and we can pass through it really quickly. When we did it's kind of what people were calling the Fight Club theory before this episode, because this episode kind of makes everything.
Oh, they were thinking like one of them was imaginary?
Correct. So, and it's kind of like, or it's kind of like what I was saying to you. Kind of similar is I said to you on the preview, and I was saying how maybe it's a split personality, not two different people.
Right.
And I've seen other people kind of make this case. And, Leslie Headland talks all about how it's not what you think it is. And, it's not all that kind of stuff. And I didn't see Russian Doll, but I heard it was kind of a mind fuck. Yeah, a little bit.
Yes.
Yeah. It wouldn't surprise me. And then I was thinking about the fact that like Chimera says, you look just like her. And I'm like, is she duping him too? But she's actually too, you know what I mean? Like, is she?
Fuck, that's right. She did Russian Doll.
It just kept making me think about it more and more about maybe this is the same person. And I was the only issue I think that comes up is that there's a bit of a sequencing issue, because what happens when she goes to confront Torben the first time? Because Osha is with the Jedi.
Well, that also, Mother calls both of them.
What do you mean?
She uses both of their names.
Oh, no, I'm saying I think that originally there were twins, but in the here and now, in the modern day.
Oh.
Has she like adopted,
manifested her sister because she did die and she needs like that?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
My head was just going into a million places, and I was thinking about it. So I kind of like started jotting some stuff down. I'm like, I'm going to share this, because I've heard other people talk about it as well. So I'm not totally crazy and alone on the theory. I'm going to tell Jay all about it. Then I watch this episode. I'm like, yeah, I don't think so.
Right. But yeah, I think that's true now. But now I'm looking back at the last episode. You never did, like, even when no one saw the both of them, like she was alone in the hallway.
Correct.
When what's-his-face faced her in the courtyard.
Yes.
And then the only time she finally ran into her sister, no one else was there.
They're never in the same place twice.
Right.
Or at the same time. So yeah. So and that whole exchange where she sees her and takes the shot, is that really her just kind of essentially in her own mind? I don't know. Even when I started to think about, like, could it have worked for the Torben, the first visit? Right. I thought, well, okay, maybe that was in her head. But then that little girl saw her. So I was like, well, that doesn't really line up then. I'm not sure. It doesn't quite add up, but it seemed interesting to me, and I kind of like the theory.
I do like the theory, but I don't think it's going to work now that we've seen this episode.
I think you're right. I think it kind of just shat right all over that. But
right.
Oh, well. And one other thing I wanted to mention too, sorry, before we get into it, is something to keep in mind as I watch this episode and as we kind of go through it is that quote from Headland when she was talking about like developing the series, and she said, quote, "As a writer's room, I developed the overall arc for season 1. We started to get really influenced by Rashomon," which I know you've heard.
This is very much that.
Yes, and the themes of the show starting to rise to the top of duality, seeing things from different points of view. Mm-hmm. So it made sense to me that when you did go back in time, there are a lot of different ways to interpret an event that happened. So it's that different points of view thing is very critical, because we have only seen a part of that flashback. We are going to see other parts of it, I think, in future episodes.
Boy, I will tell you, there are people that are taking this episode on face value and shitting on it.
Yes.
And I'm like, how do you not understand what's going on here?
It seems pretty obvious. I think some people will say, as a backup to that, be like, I don't care what the eventual thing is. This is just bad writing. This is this. This is this. They just keep going on and on about it. And again, I by no means think that this was like a great episode, but it had a lot of really interesting shit to dig into.
Yes.
That's what I like about it.
The ideas were there, like the intent for something great. I can see all of that, but I will say it's the execution wasn't as probably good as it could have been.
I agree. I think probably the biggest highlight of this episode is Jodie Turner-Smith is fucking awesome.
Yeah.
I thought she was so good.
But without seeing, I'm guessing there's 2 more flashbacks. We're going to see May's point of view and the Jedi's point of view. Without having all of that collectively, I can't really shit on it.
And there's little things that happen, which we'll talk about later, that you're like, you have to see the other angle of that.
Yes.
Like they're giving you a hint at it, but you didn't actually see so it has to happen. Anyway. All right. So we start out on Brendok 16 years ago, and we find Osha chilling under a bunta tree, doing a little force work.
Yep.
Or thread work, shall we call it?
Yep. You have to.
And she's playing with this butterfly. May shows up and starts like full on like controlling the butterfly. And this is like the first indication that these two do not see eye to eye.
No, she's force choking her Tweety bird.
It certainly looked that way. She tells her sister, Osha, I don't want to do the ascension. And she's like, it's just a ceremony, no bigs. And clearly May is like, we're a fucking unit. And Osha's like, I don't want to be a unit.
As much as they fight and almost come off like they dislike each other, like May practically wants to climb up her ass and work her like a puppet too.
Yes, she does. And I mean, that going to that extreme is a little different, but as far as seeing the fighting and the love side by side, that's pretty standard, especially for twins.
For siblings, sure. Yeah.
So they head back to the fortress, and what a fortress it is. But first they get accosted by Mother Coral, a.k.a. Lisa P. from Adventureland, as I mentioned before. What's her name? Margarita Lavieva? Is that her name? Mm-hmm. She is one of their mothers, a Zabrak, or a Zabrak. How do you say that? Zabrak?
You're asking me?
Shadrach? Anyway, she is pissed that they wandered off. Very mad. And with good reason, because they're being stalked. Followed by Soul.
Yeah.
Okay.
I got theories to that, too. Start writing this shit down.
Okay. Make a note. Do you want to share it now, or you want to wait till the end when we start?
The end.
Okay. When they arrive back at the fortress, I guess we're calling it, we meet Mother Aniseya. Like I said, I just thought she did such a great job in this episode. She was the most compelling part for me. And we see kind of how these two mothers are co-parenting. And it was very interesting because Coral is clearly the disciplinarian and Aniseya is the softie. And yes. they lock horns a lot. That was not intentional with the Zabrak, but they do lock horns. The next scene is interesting because it gets into kind of this different explanation, I guess we could say, or understanding of what we know about the Force. A lot of people are up in arms about this because they're thinking that they're changing the way the Force works. This isn't how the Force works. This is this, this, and this. And to me, it seems so obvious that this is really just literally a different religion's look at whatever you want to call it.
Because the way they explain it, if you listen, it's pretty much the same thing. Just their perspective of it and how they define it.
Right.
Is a different word usage, right?
It is ruffling a lot of feathers, Jay.
Yeah.
A lot of people are upset about it. Well, remember there was that whole build up to this episode. People were saying like, oh, this is going to shake, the fucking foundations of Star Wars and all that stuff.
Oh, I got something to add on to that at the end too.
Okay. You making notes of these things?
I was going to, but my fucking ink pen disappeared.
Because you're tired, and I'm worried you're going to forget.
Yeah, I'm going to forget.
That's 2 notes so far.
Yeah.
One is Soul following the children, and the other is whatever for that lesson. Yeah. So.
Honest question. What was that second one?
The second one. The second one was about the threads versus the Force and how it's a different, religion essentially of the Force and seeing it in a different way, even though it's kind of similar in what it does.
Yeah, it had to do with what the people are saying, though. I think it'll hit me.
Okay, so and Aniseya is explaining it as a thread, but she's it's very similar to the language that Kenobi uses. All things are connected and bound and etc.
Yes.
So all those things are very similar. But she does say, and this is the big difference, some call it the Force and claim to use it. This is the fundamental difference with the way they treat it versus the Jedi, which is like although they're kind of using it. So
they are.
So what do they mean by that? Because I think they maybe just feel like that it's probably more about the ownership, because Jedi really are like, we are the ones who will do this. And if we have somebody who has that power, we will take them in as one of our own. You don't get to use it.
Right. Well, I mean, from a different perspective, different point of view, it's the same thing as a Jedi, right? Like they're using it or saying it's for them. I mean, everything that happens in this episode and the weird division between the two and who's right and who's wrong is the same conversation. Yeah,
I mean, I would say you could make the argument that the witches aren't necessarily pushing they're not going to take Jedi children and train them. You know what I mean? Like they kind of want to be left alone. Whereas the Jedi are like, oh no, you can't do that. So we'll get into that in a minute. So she does this little demonstration where she's pushing some of the other witches back using this power. And first it's the power of one, pushes one person back. Then it's the power of two. She pushes two back. And then finally she tells the girls, tonight you're going to experience the power of many during your ascension. And meanwhile, those goddamn kids, they're not paying attention. They're fucking pushing each other. Just typical sisters, typical siblings.
This is the bad writing and direction. This could have been changed a little bit
to get to not have them do that much.
Well, no, I get the point they're trying to put across, but it was terrible
because it just went on for too long.
They're just like tapping each other and fighting and making noise. I'm like, come on.
I like the fact that though when it's happening and they're messing with each other. I mean, it is full on like, don't make me turn this car around, May, kind of stuff.
Yeah. Why are you hitting yourself? Why are you hitting yourself?
I love how Coral looks at Aniseya like, you fucking see what I'm talking about? So then she just turns and shoves him over.
There's some energy between the two of them that we have to get to as well. There's another one.
Write it down. God, we're going to have so many points to go over later. I can't wait. You're not going to make it through this episode. They keep messing with each other. And so she like finally, goes, okay, she's trying to teach them a lesson, but she's like, okay, block me. She sends the force and May jumps in to block it and Osha jumps behind her.
Which is very light force, dark force.
Mm-hmm.
One's defensive and the other one's offensive.
Right. Exactly.
And also, did she block it because Osha can't?
She's
we haven't
protecting
seen her use, other than kind of like not allowing the bird to move, right?
Yes.
Like that's about what we've seen her do so far.
Because in modern day.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe that's why they got rid of her from the Jedi, order. They were like, you're
right.
kind of not, you're not cut it, man. You're kind of a D- student.
Right.
D- force user. I think she's hiding it all deep underneath there and she's got some big time power. But anyway, so then we hear this sound in the distance. Now this was interesting because I didn't think about it the first time I watched. And then the second time I did. And that is that they hear this sound. They all look over and they're like, go to your rooms. And Coral walks over there and walks into whatever you want to call that, the power plant, whatever you want to call that area. And there's nothing there, but they had heard a sound, which makes me think. It's like
the power core.
Yes. And that makes you think, okay, later that shit blows up.
Yep.
So was something being planted there by someone?
Nailed it.
Yeah, that's what I think. Aniseya chats with the twins in the room, and that's where Osha tells her, like, I don't want to become a witch. And Aniseya explains to her, hey, the galaxy is not exactly friendly to people like us. You're going to be safer with us. Just trust me on that. As Osha and May are then getting ready for the ceremony, they have this very telling chat. May sees them as a unit, as I mentioned before, essentially like we're one, as the nursery rhyme goes.
Yep.
And Osha wants to like live her own life, do her own things, and clearly feels different from the rest of her family and her sister.
She's a free spirit. She wants to know what's out there.
She does. She's like, I don't want to be tethered to you for the rest of my life. That's the other thing.
Yeah.
And so, and May has no interest in leaving, which is like, it almost reminded me of like a river runs through it when, the older brother goes off and does all this shit and Brad Pitt just stays in Montana. And at one point he's like, you should come with us. And he's like, oh, I'll never leave Montana, brother. And it's like, well, spoiler alert, he never did. But she's very, like, what's the word?
Confused?
Nope.
She's happy to be where she's at.
Yes. What is the word?
Content.
Yeah, thank you. She is very content to be where she is and has no interest in going anywhere else. She is fully bought into what they are doing there.
Yes.
Now, this is where stuff gets a little freaky because the witches start firing up the ceremony. A lot of chanting, hand gestures. Frankly, I thought a few of them were orgasming.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they were all ready to just throw their fucking bodies into that dark hole. Also, that was a dark force present, that hole.
You think so? Like the one on Octo?
Yeah, because it's the opposite of the one when the episode first starts out and you see the planet 16 years later. You see like the remnants of like a Stonehenge thing, like one
on
of
the top of that
things.
mountain.
Did you see it?
Mm-hmm, yeah. I did see that. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, that's a good point. But yeah, they are very into this, and I didn't notice until the second watching is that it literally looks like they're reaching up and pulling threads down.
Right.
You notice that?
Yep.
So Aniseya kicks it off and says, this is a ceremony we haven't done since our exile. From where and why? And
was it then or it was earlier when they said something about how they were exiled and they were hunted?
That's what she says. Yeah, we were hunted, persecuted, and forced into hiding because people consider what we do unnatural. Oh,
right. So
ringing bells.
It had to have been the Jedi, right?
I would think so. There's a whole weird thing about how the Jedi bullshit their way about we didn't know anybody was here and all that kind of stuff, which is coming up.
Yes.
That's all bullshit. So the twins come in to do the ceremony and they start the power 1, power 2 chant. They take the vow. Do you vow upon my death to protect our secrets and continue our legacy? And of course, May goes first and she's all in. So she gets the mark on her head.
Right.
And then Osha starts kind of reluctantly.
Yep.
Like she goes, I do? Question mark? Doesn't sound very definitive. And that's when the Jedi show up. I love how one of the scouts says they've sliced the platform. What does that mean?
Isn't slicing like they hacked in?
Oh, maybe so.
Right? Isn't Benicio del Toro a slicer?
He was, yeah.
Right. So
Okay.
I think that's
That
they
maybe
broke
that's what
in.
it is.
They
okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know if that was that or it was more like a euphemistic, like they breached the gate or something.
Right.
I didn't know what that meant. In walk the 4 Jedi, Indara, Sol, Kelnaka, and Torben. Torben the Padawan. We learned that.
Mm-hmm.
Did you notice how Kelnaka walks in with a little swagger? Like he's looking around like, hey, ladies.
Yes, he did.
Ever see a Wookiee dick?
Yeah. Look under this yellow robe.
I think you might be barking up the wrong tree, Kelnaka. First, Indara says that they thought the world was inhabited. Fucking horseshit. I like her line to that. What does she say? She says, like, the Jedi were ignorant of something. I find that hard to believe.
But I think they're playing dumb and they called him out on it. But I think what happens, the fire and the explosion, all that stuff, I think has to do, it's not the Jedi that did it. I think there was, like they felt a disturbance.
Right. You think there's a dark force there?
I think there's something, there was enough, whether it's the twins or they're of age or whatever, there's something that sent them there.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, and they're doing their thing, but I think someone else is there as well.
They didn't just randomly show up. There was a reason they
Right.
came, but they didn't necessarily come for them.
There was a Sith that I think is there as well.
That could be the case. Yes. A saboteur, if you will.
Exactly.
Setting all these things in motion.
Right.
So then she tells Aniseya that they're concerned about the Coven training children and that it violates Republic law. But Aniseya quickly interrupts and says, we're not part of the Republic. And Coral says there are no children here. But of course, Kelnaka can literally smell them.
Mm-hmm.
I smell kids. I smell witch kids.
Either they come with me or I eat them.
So out comes Osha, greeted by Sol. Man, he is so good with his bedside manner. He gets down to the level of the child, like makes them instantly be friendly to him. I mean, he does a really good job. And then May comes down next, and that's when Sol notices she's got the mark, which wasn't there this morning. And then they realize you've been stalking us.
Yeah.
You fuckers. And then the witches scream, the Jedi are here to take the children. Now Sol has the gall to say the Jedi do not take children. Bro.
Well, he's saying it in a way that, like, we don't take them. We're given permission for them to come with us.
Yes, but we
They take
highly encourage you to send your child with us.
Yeah.
In kind of one of those ways where I'm going to ask you again, would you like to come with us?
But what doesn't make any sense is they say, is it the first episode, the second? Like, Sol has where he says they wanted her because of she showed promise or whatever. Osha hasn't shown anything.
No, she really hasn't. And he's lying through his teeth when he tells her, you would make a great Jedi.
Yeah.
When he shows her the saber, which is basically like, hey, here's some lovely candy. There's more in the van.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
I mean, do you want to see my fucking silver dick?
Sorry. I like Sol. I don't want to make him out to be a pedophile. But yes, it's a very luring technique they're using, and it's a little creepy. Kind of makes your skin crawl a little bit.
Yes.
Anyway, so then Sol, he's like I said, he's kind of trying to diffuse the situation because what had happened before that was Indara flat out said, you can't deny we have the right to test potential Jedi Padawans. She says that, which I think if I'm Aniseya, and I think she feels that way, it's like, the fuck I can't.
Yeah, I don't understand that. Like, why is that the tried and true galaxy rule?
I don't have to show you my child who's force sensitive. I don't have to do shit, but they're like, and then she says, I think at the end, with your permission, of course. Like, fuck you. You're not asking for my permission.
Yeah, and it's weird that, like, one religion comes into the house of another one and is like, well, we're going to take them and have them practice ours. And like any parent is going to be like, well, okay, if they want to go.
Right. You're doing it wrong. That's why the whole Christian pagan thing is very much that vibe. It's like anything that's not our religion is wrong. So we will bring you to the correct side. Of course,
but I can see like people are bitching. Like there's even people who are like, I knew the Jedi were bad from the beginning. The fuck you did? You haven't been watching Star Wars for fucking 40 something years because you knew they were the bad guys.
Well, and I think
this is definitely a take, and I can see like they're doing it's not right to take children. It's just not. But their look on it is anybody using the Force or using for bad reasons can ruin their Force using power, like the light side and the galaxy. I
get what they're doing, and I'm not trying to paint the Jedi as the ultimate evil here. I'm just saying there's some grossness to what they are doing.
Right.
Things that were introduced in the prequels, by the way. You know, this is not totally new. It's just taking it to the next level and showing it a little bit more in your face.
Right. Well, it was even in the Visions episodes.
Yeah.
We saw the same thing.
Yeah. So it's certainly a message to say, and I think it's an important one to say, like, you saw the first trilogy and even parts of the first episode of the prequels, and you're meant to believe the Jedi can do no wrong. And then as we slowly start to see, first it's they're like complacent and getting way too involved in warfare and all these things. But then you see the other pieces, which is like, going back to their roots, they really maybe cross the line at times with the way they handle children.
I mean, their intentions are always to do good, but that doesn't mean they always did good or did it for the right way.
Right. So then, he tells her, I think you become a good Jedi. Would you like to be tested? And Aniseya is just like, I will find the weakest one and fuck his mind.
Instantly.
Yeah.
Like think about that for a second. He might be a weak one, but he's a Padawan.
Yes.
And not only did she fucking like take him over instantly, but still maintained a conversation with these fuckers. Like that says something later when they're all dead on the floor.
Yes.
Four Jedi did not come into, or 3 in a Padawan and
do all that damage.
Right.
Yes. Yeah. She's literally doing a no-look demon possession.
Yes. Right. Yeah.
So yeah, she's like, if you would like him to be released, then you can get the fuck out of here because my kids aren't going to be tested. But Osha's insistent. I want to be tested. I want to show him what you taught me and all this kind of stuff. Which maybe at that point, Aniseya is like, yeah, but you haven't really shown us much.
Yeah. So she wasn't worried about her testing.
Yeah, she's like, you're going to fail.
You're right.
I'm worried about May. So Aniseya is like, okay, fine. Osha will come to the camp tomorrow, and then Sol demands that both girls come. She relents. They feel like they're just stuck. There's nothing they could do because if they fuck them over, more will come.
Exactly.
And so, although I did like the line, so they're meeting as a council or whatever, her advisors, and you really get a fun like difference again with the personalities of the two moms because Coral is just like, let's smoke these fools.
Yeah.
And then somebody goes, well, we can't like kill these 4 Jedi. She's like, it's 4 Jedi. Who's gonna miss them?
Yeah. But right there it's telling for a couple of reasons. One, they're pretty fucking strong. And 2, she got some issues.
Oh, she's got some issues. Yeah. I think she is, if you were ever allowed to dig deeper into her past, I think there's going to be some stuff that happened where she has a real sour taste in her mouth from the Jedi.
Yes.
Like you said, maybe the exile and all that. So then we get this rather interesting exchange where Coral says, I carried the twins. And Aniseya says, she created them. Ooh. I tried that line with my wife. It did not go well.
Ooh.
Just kidding. Love you, honey.
I don't think he's kidding.
No, she doesn't listen to this show. But Coral says, well, what happens if the Jedi discover how you created them? Now this has got a lot of people.
Let's
on
park on this for a second.
Sure.
What do you think? What do you think it is, and what do you think is making a big problem with fans?
I think it's an in vitro situation, and the Jedi are extreme pro-lifers. That's why they're there. No, I'm just kidding. I think people are getting mad about the Anakin piece. Like they feel like, okay, she created two children, essentially, just like Anakin was created. Well, he was supposed to be the chosen one. He's the one who doesn't have a father, and that's, the whole prophecy and all that stuff. Well, I guess a couple things. One, the prophecy doesn't say the only person to ever be created without a father will be the chosen one. They just said he will not have a father, or the chosen one will not have a father.
If we're going because I mean the rules have changed a little bit because we're led to believe it's like some immaculate conception, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then in the comic books, which are supposed to be canon, we see that it's Palpatine that does it.
Right.
That disrupts the midichlorians, whatever he does in order to get Shmi pregnant, right?
Uh-huh.
So he learns that from somewhere. He knows that that's possible.
Right.
This is that origin story, I think.
Yes. So is it, and how is it relayed to him? Is it directly from them? Does it go through Plagueis?
Right, exactly.
And who's Plagueis and all that kind of stuff? Yeah, there's definitely a lot to sit on there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the only other option I can think of is it's like Gary and Wyatt in Weird Science. They just created him, you know.
Yeah.
Why do we have bras in our head?
Put the phone on the the modem and
Oh, I love making 80s movie references that nobody gets.
oh,
you do.
Quite a
You
few
do.
of our listeners. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I mean, did you have other stuff to say on that?
No, I don't have a problem with it. Like, I mean, I see like there's people that has a problem for anywhere from the fact that it's 2 women, which is ridiculous, to that it should only be Anakin. But I mean, it should only be Anakin in the story that we've heard, but we're going back and all of this stuff is leading to both the prequels, which Headland is a huge fucking fan of.
Yeah.
And the Clone Wars. And also everything seems to be making like this thorough line into the sequels and beyond, right? So we're getting all of these little elements, and why not? Like, you can't fucking live in just the Skywalker generation and
Many
that
would
story.
like to.
I know, but like, it's not gone. It's just like there's other stories and things that add to it. And if you don't like that part of the story, it doesn't mean it's fucking everything should be burned.
Right. I agree.
Like I think it's a little ridiculous.
Everybody holds it a little too precious. And granted, you know, we are huge fans and dedicate a lot of hours to all this stuff, but I think there's an approach that some people have, which is just like, you're ruining everything. You're ruining my childhood, everything I know. It's, again, I'm not saying you got to like this. I just think that the people are overreacting a bit too.
And you don't have the answer to what it is yet.
That's the other thing, especially. Like, let's wait till we get through the end of the season because you're going to learn a lot more stuff. Like you said, so many people are taking things at face value.
And it's exactly what, now that I think about it, if she was the one that created them and put them in her to carry, it's exactly what Palpatine did
to Shmi.
Yes.
Yes.
So the link is, and you ready for it?
Okay.
What's the other mom's name?
Coral or Aniseya?
Coral.
Coral.
She's the link. She's the bad one.
Yes, I think there's merit to that.
She sells that whole fucking group out.
A lot of people are saying they didn't see her in the room later when everybody's dead, although she could have been under that pile of bodies. I don't know.
But just the energy between them, the look they give, and when at the end, when we get to it in just a minute, when Mother Aniseya, where she tells the kids to leave, she's like, we need to talk for a moment, you know, between us. There's that look.
Yeah.
Like she's aware of something, and then so does she. And something tells me there's shit going on.
They've been building it up to show her anger and her feelings on all these matters that would 100% lead to her being somehow involved in that.
Right.
Yeah, that I can't wait to get the future scenes of that flashback because there's a lot of shit that goes down. We'll get into that more in a second. So the eldest advisor comes in.
It's fucking E.T. dressed in some Game of Thrones garb. Did you see that? I was like, what is this?
That was awesome.
I thought it was Maz at first.
Yeah, no, Maz is way prettier
Like,
than
just the voice and the wrinkled face until it kind of went and zoomed in. I was like, oh, no. But I was like, what the hell?
That was pretty funny. Yeah, she comes in and says, you know, essentially says they'll leave if they fail. So just have them fail, you know? So Aniseya tells the girls, okay, whatever you feel in your heart, do the opposite because you need to fail these tests. And that's when you get this exchange again with May and Osha, where May's like, the Jedi are bad. And Osha's like, they're good. Because that's, you know, her view of things. And then Aniseya says, which is important, it's not about good or bad, it's about power and who is allowed to use it, which is their biggest beef.
Yes.
You trying to dominate and control this thing and not allow other people to use it doesn't work.
I think they are definitely, this coven is definitely a sect from the hand of whatever, from the path of the
See, I don't know enough about that, but I keep seeing that being referenced by people. This is where my lack of knowledge of the High Republic is hurting us.
I've read enough of the stuff about the High Republic. I've only started the first book, but I've read enough about it and I've seen like some videos just in passing to know like what that is. And this definitely represents that.
There's certainly enough videos out there that could
probably explain it better than us who don't know anything. Yeah. Yeah.
Right. They go to the Jedi camp, and May successfully fails the test because she goes first. Osha's next. However, I'm thinking even if May failed, they took a blood test. Would they not have seen her M count?
But we haven't seen that yet.
That they did or did not.
Well, we've seen they took the test, but I think when we get the Jedi version, we might
you'll
see
what they see.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
It just made me think that was a little too easy for them to let that go. But maybe they're only really after her. Maybe they're only really after Osha. I don't know. They take her blood. They do this test. It's the same goddamn test. It's like if you and I took a standardized test in the 80s that was made in like the 1890s.
It's the MEEP.
Yeah, right. Can we update our test, guys?
Yeah. Only number 2 pencils.
Right. Pencils down.
Circle in one of the letters.
Here's your Scantron.
Yep.
Yeah. Osha purposely fucks up her answers. And I love how Saul catches her. He's just like, yes, good job. She's like, no, it was. Oh, fuck.
Oh.
You got me. And then he gets down to her level again, relates to her again. He's very good. He's as great a guy as he is. He's kind of a little bit of a manipulator.
Yeah, he's like a child whisperer.
Kind of is. Yeah, and he tells her, "Hey, I was taken when I was 4. Sorry, I left to join the order when I was 4. Misspoke there."
And like because he was happy that there was all these children for him to be around.
Yes,
it's like he knows. He's looked inside of her almost and knows exactly what to say to get her.
Yes, he is pushing all the buttons correctly. Yes, for sure. And I mean, she is just blown away by it. Like, holy shit, there's others like us. She's like, thousands of us. So she admits she wants to be a Jedi. They complete the testing. She walks out, kind of puts her head down. May walks up, and she knows, and she is fucking livid. Storms off. And I forgot to mention too, by the way, Osha at one point kind of befriends in a small way Kelnaka. She has this little exchange with Kelnaka outside the ship, and he's like, doing all that stuff. She's like, can't understand a word. But it almost felt like a Ezra Zeb type thing, like the big lug who's out there fixing everything, and she's new to the crew kind of deal. That's what it kind of felt like. Osha tells her moms that she wants to be a Jedi and that she wants her own life. That's what I mentioned earlier. She does not want to be associated with May as like her whole life. She wants to do her own thing, and it's very much a Luke Skywalker-esque, Anakin-esque kind of attitude of, I want to go out and experience the galaxy. I want to go out and do things.
Yeah, but it's almost like at too young of an age.
What do you mean?
Well,
basically the same age as Anakin.
Right. But he was a slave and they recognized something and his mom wanted him to go.
Well, no, that's different for sure. Yes.
Right. This is a family who wants to keep their kids who are up to their own thing. And it doesn't make sense for any parent to give their child that much freedom because that's what they want. You know what I mean? It's
very, wow, on Aniseya for being like, you got to do what's best for you. I mean, shit, that is not, I as a parent, I would not do that.
I know.
Because, they have this heartfelt conversation where she basically says it's your choice. Don't let fear dictate your choice, which even allows her even more to open up to the idea of going ahead with her plan. I thought that was a great scene. And really telling of kind of Aniseya's approach. So we go, okay. Osha goes back to her room, pack up her things. Again, kind of Anakin-esque, packing her backpack. She leaves the My Little Ponies. She's not going to take those with her.
All three of them.
Takes her little, whatever, her drawing book. Or she actually grabs it. Or no, she doesn't have it at that point because her sister walks in.
She had it earlier and she wouldn't let May look at it.
And May takes it from her. And because first May says, I'm not going to let them take you. And she's like, I want to go. What are you going to do? And she goes, I'm going to kill you.
I know.
Whoa, that escalated quickly.
Well, who hasn't heard that from their sister or brother?
Sure, but again, she's got her...
But boy, she's got conviction. She's going to do it.
She's got her mother Coral's temperament.
Yeah, and also, can we point out that the coloring book or the sketch pad is a triangle?
Yes,
and it's
a
black
right?
covered. Yeah, and then is the sketch the Jedi symbol?
It looks like it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was trying to make out what that was. That's what it looks like. But you're right. All the triangles are always a Sith thing.
Right.
So they always like to put that imagery in there.
Yep.
Yeah. So steals her book, marches out, and then locks her in, and then sets fire to the book and just throws it on the floor. And I was trying to figure out, because a lot of people are bitching like, well, how did a metal door catch on fire? How did the stone walls catch on fire? It almost looked to me more like whatever she had spread the fire under the door and into the room. I don't know. I wasn't sure exactly what was supposed to be on fire.
Right.
But either way, She's like shit. She hotwires that little tunnel exit, goes out there. So she's going through the tunnel, and we can speculate on this in a minute. But first she hears this like explosion. Then she hears a bunch of witches scream and looks up. And something is happening up there.
Yes.
That we don't see.
Through the grate.
Yep. Exactly. And then she ends up by the power plant, or whatever you want to call it, the power room. And yeah, the explosion happens. Things blow up, cuts the bridge off between her and May. And then May is, telling Osha, Mama's dead. What did you do? And she's like, what did you do?
Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
This is where you need to write some better dialogue or give a conversation. And maybe they'll go into that when we, like you hear something and they just kind of show you. And then later on, there's a more detailed discussion.
Makes more sense. Yeah.
But what did you do? What did you do? What did you do? Oh, I'm going to fall to my death. Like, so that's like where the execution wasn't as good for me. But I get like there's definitely gaps in things because too much is happening all at once.
And it's one perspective.
And the fact that Soul shows up in the fucking room too.
Really quickly.
Yeah.
He comes flying in. It all looks real freaking dodgy.
Right.
May seemingly falls to her death, and then Osha is caught by Soul who pulls her up, and he escorts her out of the fortress, and that's when she goes to this room. You see this circle of dead witches, which immediately I thought, is this a Heaven's Gate situation?
That's what I thought. I thought they took the Bunta Kool-Aid.
Right. Did they have Nikes on?
Yeah.
And then she goes to the next room. She sees Aniseya lying dead on the floor.
Right.
So, so what happened?
But she didn't see Mama number 2 or 1, however you want to look at it.
Yeah, 1. Yeah, whatever. I don't want to assign 1 or 2 there, but I think Aniseya is probably 1. Yeah. So if they don't go Heaven's Gate, how do they die? Did the Jedi somehow cause this?
I don't think so. I think the Jedi got there too late. I think someone else was in there and killed them.
And when the Jedi, okay, interesting. Because I can't imagine Soul would have anything to do with that.
Because it's like, who does May end up with, and how does she become this acolyte? So I think she's taken. She's found and taken.
Because here's where things get interesting: is that there is a scene that we have not. There's a couple shots that we have not seen yet, and one of them is of Kelnaka with his lightsaber attacking Torben.
Yes.
So why is he attacking Torben? Was he possessed by one of the witches to do so? Mm-hmm. Torben, later on, when we see him on the ship, if you look in the background, you can see that his face has been fucked up.
Maybe it's Kelnaka who kills them.
I mean, maybe Kelnaka and Coral run off together.
Ooh, yeah. What's the name of the planet?
Kofar?
No,
where Kelnaka goes?
No, the planet that they're on right now.
Brendok?
Yeah, a little Brendok burning.
Nice. Yeah, there's a lot to be determined there, because why is he attacking Torben and Torben gets all fucking sliced up? Why does all that stuff happen? And how do these people die? Because obviously there's no way they died from the fire. So what do they die from? Well,
and then, okay, so to go into the end, she wakes up, she's got an oxygen tank, Soul confides in her and tells her she's going to be a great Jedi, blah, blah, blah. And you see Andara and you see Tobin. You don't see Kelnaka on the ship, do you?
He's not on the ship.
And Tobin has the scar.
Correct. That's what I'm saying. He's already got, it's like red. It's not fully scarred over yet, but it's a fresh wound.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a shot that they showed in the trailer where I think it's a hand around his throat and he's like freaking out and got a bloody face. And it looks like a Wookiee hand.
Yes.
So those two fight for some reason.
Yeah. So I think he's possessed.
Yeah. Kelnaka must be possessed, right? That's what I was thinking had to happen.
She uses him because he's got the brute strength. And it doesn't look like any of them were sliced or anything. It looks like they were just, fuck, a Wookiee's going to yank their arms off and beat each other with them. So
right. So how the hell did they all die? I don't understand that. I can't wait to see how they explain
I think he took Mother Aniseya, just fucking snapped her neck and then picked her up by her ankles and just beat the rest of them like a baseball bat. It's like that. There's that video where the monkey picks up that little chimp and just starts beating beats the chimp on like a tree, and he's hitting another monkey? Like it's sick to look at, but like, it's just like the strength, but he, instead of like just killing it, he picks that thing up by its legs and just starts using it like a stick.
Hey, leave me out of this. Yeah. And again, back to what we talked about before, what I mentioned before, the whole place blows up. How does that happen? And is it related to that whole sound they heard earlier? Was there something set? Is there a Sith presence here that set things in motion or set some traps or whatever you want to say to like have these things kind of all go off at once?
So here's the thing. Go back to the beginning where Soul is creeping up on him like he's in a back alley with a trench coat on.
Right.
You know?
No pants.
Like, how do they know to be on this planet? How do they know that there are people actually there? There's there's something the Force calls out to them. Something calls them there, right? And I think something called someone else there as well.
Okay.
And then now it's just like who gets who first or gets what.
All right.
And I don't know, because
it's almost like two superpowers fighting over a country.
Right. Yeah. Or yeah, because these creations are like probably pretty powerful, or they're going to be.
Yeah.
So let's take them. And Mom has no say in anything. She keeps getting her legs cut out from under her.
Yeah.
So she's already got divorce papers in an envelope just waiting to serve her. So she's got the Sith server there with an envelope, and instead he just plants a bomb.
Are you Mother Aniseya? Yes, you've been served.
I think she's been tricked already.
Who? Coral? She's been tricked already by the Sith?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I think you might.
I'm going with this.
I like this theory.
Yep.
Yeah, like you said, Osha wakes up in the ship, and, they're going to Coruscant. He said, you could train as my Padawan.
It seems to be a little, doesn't the council have to, sign up on that?
I feel like a lot of Jedi guys do that. It's like Qui-Gon, I will train him, and then.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I guess he did go before the council, and they were like, you're not going to train him. And then he said, I'm going to train anyway.
Yeah. Right.
and then Obi-Wan did the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
He was like, I gave my word to Qui-Gon. I got to train him. Sorry. And Yoda's like, fuck,
right.
Yeah, you probably should. I don't know. But then the final shot is just like this slightly beat up May at the Bunta tree looking for Osha, because that's at the beginning of the episode. She said, I will always come here to find you because that's where I think you're going to go. And when she sees she's not there, she's like, oh boy.
So maybe she sucks on the leaves and dies, and then her spirit lives on in Osha's head. Ding, ding, ding.
To feed into the Fight Club theory?
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't think so. I don't know. It makes me wonder where you're going to go next. Are we going to see the May go after Kalnaka on Kofar? Are we going to see that next? And I mean, if Kalnaka's on the list, well, because I guess she possessed him to kill all those people. So yeah, he would still be on her list.
Well, either she saw it or she didn't, but either way, he was there, and her family died, and so did her sister in her eyes. So he's still to blame, whether she saw him use Mom as a baseball bat.
Well, yes. And what does May think of Coral at this point? Does she have any idea, Coral, if we are correct, that Coral somehow is the bad player in this, or got, aligned with the Sith or whatever? Is she aware of that? Well,
she only has to be aware that her mom is still alive.
Okay.
And she can play the lying game with her.
Because, I mean, are we going to have that moment where Zipperface pulls the mask off and it's Coral, and May's like, holy shit.
Very well could be.
Because, I mean, that's one that people have been throwing out there.
Right.
Chimere and Coral. Those are the two right now. Those are the two leading candidates in the clubhouse.
I think Chimere's too young, although he is pretty shady. So,
yeah, I don't know. There's something going on with that character. It may not
I agree.
But what is it? You're right. There's a history there.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know when. I don't think they're going to go back to a different perspective of the events right away. I think they're going to show us something more modern day.
Yeah.
Then they'll come back to it again, like you said, and then maybe the last episode of the season, we get the full final piece of the puzzle that tells us exactly what happened. And then also thought we haven't got, and this is essentially like the half season, whatever mark at this next episode will be. We haven't seen the Zipperface encounter any Jedi yet. Are we going to get one of those moments? Are we going to get the "What are you" moment or whatever, where they just get a taste of him? Maybe he kills one person or whatever and fucks off. Are we going to see him this next episode, or her?
No, I think it'll be. Well, we might see him again, but I think it'll be the episode after. I think this episode is going to be Kalnaka, probably stuff coming together, and then them going, because collectively as a group, it looks like they go out searching for this Zipperface.
Yeah.
Too much in one episode, I think.
When they show up to see Kalnaka and they're like, "Hey, everything's cool," and he's like, "Okay, where's Torben? I really wanted to apologize."
Yeah.
No. How about Indara? Just say your prayers. I don't know.
Yep.
All right. Well, that's it. Unless you have anything else. Did you have any other points you had written down that we need to go over?
No, I went back to Soul in the Woods. I think Coral is one of the big bads.
Yep.
Yeah, there was one other thing. Oh, if it comes to me.
Okay, well, let's go to the Maul Bag. Got
Yeah.
four of them bad boys. First up, Max Rebo. I hope you had a satisfactory Acolyte premiere night. This is before the show. It's about 95 minutes till episode 3 of The Acolyte is released. While I like getting the episode a day early, there is something fun about waking up at 3 to 4 a.m. and watching it while the rest of the Rebos are sleeping. His family. Oh, man. What's your opinion? I don't know how you feel about it. I always kind of liked having the midnight release because there's something nice about it being like late at night.
You're up then.
I'm up and
I'm
you're
not
not.
waking my ass up at 3 or 4 a.m. to watch it. Rebo needs to take an Ambien and figure out what a nice long sleep
Because
feels
it's difficult for me to watch it when it releases at 6 here. It's difficult for me to do that. I don't end up watching it till later that night anyway. So I'm like, I might as well be at midnight. I don't give a shit, you know?
Right.
But for everybody else, I'm glad.
You live. Are you okay?
He also says, P.S. Has anyone checked on RFB? His absence is troubling.
I know what's going on.
He's posted a little bit. He's liked some tweets and stuff like that. Maybe just hasn't been as active reaching out to shows, or maybe just not our show.
Oh, that could be. Maybe he gave up on us.
Well, I don't know if he's given up on us or just he listens to. Maybe he has given up on us. Maybe he's just like, you know what? I can't do this anymore. I'm tired of leaving a voicemails. Hey, we made him part of the FACPA story.
We did. But you know what?
player.
I've learned over the years, these 15, 16 years I've been podcasting, the minute you give someone the voice or put him in the show or make him a part, they lose all interest afterwards.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. Look at Laybourne. Laybourne's gone.
He's gone. He was a part of the show for a while, though.
Yeah.
I mean, to a degree. Yeah, you could be right. So take that lesson, listeners. We are not including you.
Right. Right. We don't want to lose you. So
email number 2, Ash Rendar, just says, Jackie good. That was her thoughts on the... This was, I think, before the episode even happened, too. She was not happy that Jackie was not in this episode.
You know, I got to give her some... She dropped some funny-ass gifs about, like, her not being in the show.
Oh, yeah. And then also, did you see the one with her ducking Yord's head and the giving him a wedgie, or not a wedgie, but a swirly in the toilet? She hates Yord because Yord's getting all this play. She's like, "Fuck you guys, I'm Jackie all the way."
I mean, I want to see. I swear she's keeping up with the Yord horde.
The Yord horde.
Like, her tweets are keeping up with the whole horde.
Oh yeah,
of tweets. Like it's nonstop.
It's an amazing output of tweets.
Yeah, like I don't think she slept in a week.
Email number 3, Max Rebo. I hope you had a satisfactory Acolyte evening. This is now after the episode. I hate to be that guy, but that episode was way longer than it had to be. An episode like this makes sense in a 12-episode series, not an 8-episode.
So wait, hold on. It's okay to have a long episode with more episodes than a long episode because you've got less episodes? That doesn't make sense to me.
Or I think he's saying so much time was dedicated to this particular episode out of 8. If it was a 12-episode arc, sure, you could have it be this long.
Okay.
But because of the fact that you're limiting to 8, you wasted one essentially, or not wasted. I'm not putting words in his mouth, but that's what I think he means. He said, I think we will find out that the Jedi killed the witches because they were doing the Force wrong, like Catholics and Protestants killing each other. Not necessarily because they were dark side. Interesting theory, Max. You might be right. I don't know. I have a hard time believing the Jedi slaughtered the witches of their own free will.
Yeah, I think the whole watching Mother take over the Padawan that easily and his eyes go black was foreshadowing for the potential of someone else using that against them.
Because you want to show their power, but would it not be used later? Of course it would be used later.
Also, you know what we didn't say? Shout out to the blue and red moons that they're yanking the thread from that's sprayed in the logo.
That was pretty sweet.
Yeah.
I like that little look. Yeah. I mean, the exterior shots, freaking beautiful shots.
Right.
And then finally, email number 4 from Brian Hour. Okay, we're through episode 3 and see why there is no Yoda in this series. If he knew what was going on, some Jedi would be getting beat down.
Yep.
That said, I do think some witches might have had better results with some corporal punishment. Yeah, he's not wrong. So he's team Mother Coral.
He's team beatdown.
Yeah. Also, I would like to see any male. This is what I was talking about earlier. Also, I'd like to see any male use that answer to the "I carried them" argument. I created them. As a cis white boy, I will kindly be over in the corner minding my business as some sandals will be flying soon. Oh, that's funny. Yeah, the created them argument doesn't fly very well as a man.
Well, also, like, we're watching a series that isn't real.
Yes.
It exists in a galaxy far, far away.
Many people forget that.
And people are like, it takes a man and a woman to create a child.
No, I know. It's just...
Yeah, it does. But you know what? We're suspending disbelief on all of this other shit.
Yes.
Like,
right.
I'll take that as.
The fucking scum and villainy of Twitter is just outrageous. It's fucking out of control.
I fucking love it. I want to tempt them all. Like, come this way. Like,
I don't think you
bother
do.
me a bit.
It's exhausting though, because it's
Oh, my
just
God.
relentless. They are fucking relentless, and they say
Yeah.
just some of the worst shit known to man. I mean, it's awful stuff. Well, on that note, that's it. That's all for our show this week.
That's all she wrote, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be back next week. So thank you so much for listening. Until next time.
Laugh it up, fuzzballs.
We're smoking.